When you go on a diet, there's a ton of different factors to consider. That includes how much salt intake you have, because too much salt can lead to serious health consequences. Today, we're joined by Cone Health dietitian Kate Watts to learn about ways to cut back on salt without sacrificing all the flavor that we like. Okay, so let's talk about this. Some small steps maybe that can have some big health benefits. Why is too much salt bad for you?
Well, too much salt can raise our blood pressure, which puts strain on our heart and blood vessels. And over time, that can increase our risk for heart disease, stroke, kidney problems. So the good news is our taste buds can adjust, and the small changes that we make now can lead to some big benefits for our health down the road.
Okay, so a low sodium diet will keep us from maybe getting some of those things that you just mentioned. But what other benefits or changes would you expect people to feel if they were on a low sodium diet?
Well, when we cut back on salt or lower our sodium intake, we lower our blood pressure. We also see reduced bloating and even increased energy levels. So those are all some great benefits. And, people often say that food starts to taste different as well. Suddenly, fresh ingredients have more flavor, even without the added salt.
Okay, all right. So many people don't realize really just how much sodium is in their everyday food. It's not just the salt shaker that you put on there, but in the everyday food. What are some of the sneakiest sources of salt that we should be aware of?
Salt can be in some surprising places. Some of the top sources: bread, deli meat, our canned soups, condiments. Most packaged items are loaded with sodium. Even sweet foods like cereal and baked goods can be a surprising source of sodium. And restaurant foods are another big one. Some of the dishes we get when dining out have more sodium in that one dish than we'd recommend for an entire day.
More sodium in one dish than you'd recommend all day long. Okay, so let's take a look first about what we should look for when it comes to food labels and sodium. How do we know if something is a good choice or not?
You want to, first of all, make sure you're turning the product around and looking at the nutrition facts label on the back. That's going to have the best information around sodium. And then we want to aim for 140 milligrams of sodium or less per serving. That's considered a low sodium choice. And then you can also use the percent daily value. If you aim for products with 5% or less, that's a good choice. And you want to be cautious when things have 20% or more of that daily value for sodium.
Okay, that is the threshold. The 20% or more, we should probably put that right back on the shelf. Right. Let's talk about some easy swaps or salt alternatives that we can use at home to really kind of bring out the flavor and not reach for that salt shaker.
Absolutely. Here in our teaching kitchen at the Cone Health Leonard J. Kaplan Center for Heart, Vascular, and Lung Health, we love showing people how to cook heart healthy, delicious meals without adding salt. And so we use fresh herbs, garlic, vinegars, citrus, other spices to really provide bold flavor. And so we're not sacrificing taste, but we're getting that benefit for our health in a large way.
Okay. Are there some specific foods or maybe like food groups that people should focus on just avoiding to lower their sodium intake? I mean, there's ones that we might need to taper off some.
Yeah, so again, I would say to really think about the types of meats you're purchasing, because a lot of those, for preservative reasons, have added salt. And there's not a really specific food group. Otherwise, low sodium grains would be a good choice. It's really watching those packaged items and cutting back on those and choosing more fresh, whole ingredients where you can.
Okay, so we're going to continue our discussion on salt. We're going to start asking questions like, well, what about like frozen things, that we get in the store? How do we cut down on the sodium with those kinds of things? Because a lot of times that's like some of the easiest things to do with a very busy family life. You need some frozen foods and things like that. We're going to talk about that when we come back from the break.